There's another story I want to get to before we break, which is the story of a man who drowned in the San Francisco area on Monday while police and firefighters were watching basically from about 100 yards away on the shore. A team of firefighters and about 75 spectators were there when a man drowned in the very cold water in San Francisco. First responders were strictly forbidden by police to attempt a rescue, which was deemed too dangerous in the frigid water. Okay, the backstory, and I've already received countless emails about this. The man's name was Raymond Zach. He was 52 or 53. He walked into the 54-degree water up to his neck at about 11:30 in the morning on Memorial Day. He stood there until he lost consciousness and drowned. The water was too shallow for a U.S. Coast Guard boat to attempt a rescue. Eyewitness Sharon Brunetti told reporters that Zach's stepmother had asked her to call 911. The stepmother told her that Zach had threatened to commit suicide, and Brunetti further commented that Zach had gradually inched out farther and farther, occasionally glancing back at the shore. Immediately after, we heard criticism. Why did the police not do anything? Why did the firefighters not do anything? And also one we didn't hear very much about but should have been asked, why didn't any of the 75 spectators do anything? The entire thing, went on for nearly an hour. Eventually, a 20-year-old woman went into the water and dragged Zach's body out onto the shore. He was already dead at this point. And some reports said that the woman was an off-duty nurse. So what's the controversy here? The controversy is that some people are saying, what are the police doing? They're 100 yards away. What are firefighters doing? Nobody can get in there. Nobody can just swim out and try to help this guy. Protocol indicated, and this is being backed up by officials with the police and fire departments that responded to the incident, is that they were not prepared. They did not have the gear. They did not have the equipment to execute this rescue. Many in the media on both progressive and conservative sides, not that you would think of this as a blindly political issue, but it is in many ways, are being very, very critical of the action taken by the police and by the firefighters. What say you, Lewis?
I find it very hard to believe that over the course of an hour, these people were unable to get some type of flotation device or something to this guy, some type of rope, whatever.
A wetsuit to get somebody out there.
At the same time, if he was trying to kill himself, maybe he wouldn't have grabbed onto anything. So perhaps it was unavoidable.
So that's the other issue. Should the police and firefighters, at the time, I don't believe everybody on scene knew that this was a suicide attempt.
Right.
At the time, should police and firefighters act differently if they know that an incident like this, which is potentially risky to the first responders, is a suicide attempt? Should they put in less effort to save the person's life?
Well, you have to assess the risks. You have to say to yourself, well, if this is a suicide, if we throw something out there, the guy might not take it. If we send someone out there, swimming out there, and the guy really wants to die, he might fight back. The other person, because of that, could end up getting killed.
So Lewis says we can consider whether the motives of the person. Natan, I think that I don't know that Natan's going to agree on this. I think it opens up a can of worms.
You have to assess the risks in a dangerous situation.
Should whether it's a suicide attempt or not affect how police and firefighters handle it?
I don't know. I mean, that's just a question of whether the law in California says that you have to try to save anyone no matter what you think their intention is, whether they're trying to kill themselves. I don't know what the law is.
There is another factor here, which is that water rescue and water rescue training was dropped 2 years ago by the Alameda Fire Department because of recession budget cuts. And they received a flood of complaints as a result of this incident, and they appropriated about $20,000 to $40,000 to train 16 firefighters in land-based water rescue training. So the money was also a factor here. In other words, it's not completely out of sync to believe that maybe some of the firefighters could have been trained had the budget been organized differently.
Yeah. I mean, still, perhaps they still would have been forbid by police to do anything.
The rules may have still prevented them from going in. The one thing I want to throw out there is think about other scenarios, because people hear it's water, it's 100 yards out.
It's frigid.
It sounds simple. Send the firefighters, send the police out, somebody go out there, even if they're not exactly trained for it. But hold on a second. Think about a different scenario. For example, a nuclear plant. Think about at a nuclear plant, if there was some kind of meltdown or emergency situation, fire and police show up, The actual people trained to respond to a nuclear meltdown maybe have to travel from further away. The police and firefighters don't go in because that's just not what they're trained for. Are we going to sit out there and say, hold on a second, they should have at least gone in. They should have at least tried. No, we wouldn't be saying that. Same thing if it was a mine situation. Imagine if there was a mining accident, as there have been many. Police and firefighters show up. There is still some time to get the miners out alive. By the time the mine rescue experts show up, they may be dead. Are we going to fault the police and firefighters for just not going in? Hey, listen, they're not at all trained to go into that situation. Should they just go in and try something because they're first responders? And I don't actually know the answer to this. It's a difficult situation. I do have a lot of questions, though. Why? Why in an hour we couldn't scramble one wetsuit? We couldn't do anything? I don't know. Make sure to join us on Facebook, facebook.com/David Pakman Show. We'll take a break. We're giving away an iPad, davidpakman.com/membership. Back after this with plenty more.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.